All right, everybody, welcome to day 2 of JNUC. I hope everyone found Nashville to their liking last night. I know personally I was out maybe a little later than I should have been, but welcome everyone. My name is Israel Lostu, and I'm the Director of Partner Marketing here at Jamf. Got a great session set up for you. I guess I don't have a lot. I'm a marketing guy, so I don't have a lot to add to this topic, but I'm gonna rely on these folks, my experts, to cover it in an extraordinary fashion. But could you all put your hands together? Welcome the crew up to cover distributing eSIMs for organizations through Jamf Pro with Global One. Come on up.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to this session. So I'm Jamie Cole. I'm one of the solution specialists at 1GLOBAL.
My name is Twan Scholte. I'm from Suit Supply. I'm one of their first customers with this product, but we get to that later.
And hi, I'm Anthony Prokop. I'm one of the pre-sales consultants here at 1GLOBAL.
Cool. So what we're going to cover today, a quick introduction into eSIMs in 2024. Quick introduction to 1GLOBAL. Introduction, easy for me to say. A quick introduction to 1GLOBAL and who we are, what we do. Overview of Suit Supply and their use case for this particular deployment method. Then running into a little bit more detail with Anthony on the API and how it actually works. Quick recap on the customer and the difference it made. And then question and answers. Cool. Kicking off with eSIM in 2024. So look, eSIM itself has been around as a technology since, I think, about 2012. Networks started to kind of adopt this, or we did at least as 1GLOBAL in about 2015. But the first device to really mass use this was the iPhone XS in 2018. iPads were also launched in that year as well. So what you could do, QR code, scan it, activate, relatively painless process. Some carriers actually have a one-to-one relationship with the device and what they class as an EID. An EID is a unique identifier for the eSIM chipset, if you like, on the device. And some carriers have a one-to-one relationship where they can actually push an eSIM out specifically to a specific device, which is the alternative way to do it. But in 2024, we figured that and through talking to customers as well, that actually integrating with Apple automated device enrollment, the new ways of implementing devices automatically through Jamf Pro, that actually we should be integrating with the likes of Jamf or mobile device management systems. It should be an easier way to do this en masse, because we were seeing lots and lots of problems from customers having issues with time-stealing deployment of an eSIM. It was one of those subject matters that is, I would argue it's exciting, but I'm sure there's lots of people out there that would argue it's not a particularly exciting subject, but it's necessary. So how do we make that easier? So what we've done is we've developed an API for automated eSIM distribution to devices pretty much anywhere in the world, covering 3 core areas. One of those is to iPhone devices, then there's to iPads, and then there's a BYOD solution as well. The difference between iPad and iPhone is quite simply with an iPad, you just need data, whereas with an iPhone, you actually need to give the user a specific number for a specific country. Today, we're going to cover in a little bit more detail than we did yesterday how to enroll iPhones into Jamf Pro with automated eSIM distribution. So coming on to because we're a little bit different as an organization, as 1GLOBAL. We are what's classed as an MVNO. I'll come on to that one in a second. We as an organization have been around since 2006. We've got a truly international presence with 15, 16 offices around the world. There's actually a stat that says it's 40 million eSIMs. I found out this morning, too late to change it, that we're actually now at 45 million eSIMs globally, which makes us one of the biggest players in the eSIM market. We're kind of like a software, well, we're not kind of, we are software meets telecoms in 2024. And as an MVNO, if you guys are probably, well, we love our acronyms in this industry. There are a whole bucket load from SIMs to PUCs to, I don't know, there was actually a dictionary at one point in time a few years ago as to what they all were. But an MVNO is a mobile virtual network operator, which is what 1GLOBAL is. An MNO you've probably heard of, the likes of AT&T, T-Mobile, Orange around the world, Vodafone around the world. These are all mobile network operators. MNOs. MVNOs, however, there are a few in the US market. A great example, mainly because I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan, and who doesn't like Deadpool? Mint Mobile. I think there's adverts around everywhere at the moment for Mint Mobile in the US. Predominantly, it's a consumer product, but that's a great example of an MVNO. They're actually using the T-Mobile network in the US to offer the service to end users. We're a little bit different. We actually sit across both the MNO space and the MVNO space. How does that work? Well, you can see in the middle there, I thought there was going to be a pointy thing here. It's up there, isn't it? You can see in the middle down here that these are the capabilities that we have as an MVNO. So the only thing we don't have as an organization is actually the final. It's difficult not to shake. The only one we don't have is the cellular network, the actual kind of like the final bit that's pumping out the signal. And we actually leverage the networks, as an example, in the US of T-Mobile, AT&T. In the UK, it's BT and, or BTE and Vodafone. In the Netherlands, it's KPN and Vodafone. You get the idea. Around the world, we use the best networks to actually deliver that final part of the service. What we also have is a load of capabilities around eSIM. As an organization that's been around since 2006, we're one of those organizations you've never heard of. However, there's probably things that you touch in the marketplace that actually we're providing a service for that organization. We have about 3,500, 4,000 enterprise customers around the world. We have a compliance service where we offer it to 11 out of 12 tier 1 banks, which is call recording and text recording for the compliance sector. We have a consumer offering with multiple brands around the world that use our service. So if you guys go and use like Simly as an example, Speedtest have their own eSIM, that's us. And there's also Revolut in Europe, which is really, really well known. So we're behind lots and lots of things, including Bootstrap for iPad as well. So that's a quick recap of us as an organization. The key thing here is we don't just do it in one country. We have an MVNO in currently 9 countries, soon to be 12. UK, US, Germany, Netherlands, Poland, Spain, Hong Kong, Australia. You get the idea. That's increasing as well. So coming on to why we're here, what have we done here with Jamf and how does that work? So look, we've partnered with Jamf to offer zero-touch eSIM deployment. Why? Well, when you look at Apple automated device enrollment, if you can couple the eSIM as part of that, so we can, Anthony's a new employee, there's a new phone, what process does that look like for an end user? And for Twan, from an IT perspective, what does he have to go to make the experience for Ant as frictionless as possible? And that's what we've set out to achieve. We set out to set something up with Apple Business Manager, an API configuration in Jamf Pro, and eSIMs from us in multiple countries around the world for a frictionless process. So, coming on to the use case, I'm going to introduce Twan. So this is Twan from Suit Supply, and probably some of the slickest slides I've seen over the course of the last 24
I don't
hours.
made it myself, to be honest. For anyone that doesn't know Suit Supply, the name gives away a bit. We do suits. We have about 150 stores all over the world. Originally, we are a Dutch company, so we have a big presence there. But for example, in the US, we have about 45 stores now, growing up to 50 by the end of the year. And basically, tailoring or men's fashion is kind of an old-fashioned industry, if I'm really honest. But what we like at Suit Supply is to give like the old-fashioned tailor experience, personal experience in the store, and add digital helping methods to add to that experience. So we don't want to use it as a distraction, but just as a tool for our tailors, for our style advisors to basically make your experience as a customer as easy as possible and as convenient as possible. So we're hoping you will return soon for your next suit. Basically, the whole goal we had, we were a Jamf Pro customer before. We used iPads in store. They were shared devices, so they were store-bound. And when you came in, for example, for a wedding suit, and we took your measurements, then we put it in an iPad, then we put it away and let you try on some jackets, and then we reach out for the iPad again, and probably somebody else took it. That was one of the things where we thought, well, we could do a better job, and it's not really like buying more iPads, because that obviously is not the solution, and it doesn't add to the personal experience we want to give you at Suit Supply. So we thought, why not give everyone an iPhone? We enable tap to pay on it, so everything a style advisor or tailor might need is right in his or her pocket, and when the alterations are done or the suit is made, the tailor can reach out to the customer directly. That gave us a few challenges, and one of them was that we needed local numbers for each country. I mean, in the US, it's a big country, they all use the same country code, and well, if I call you with a US number, it doesn't really matter if you are in New York or in San Francisco. But in the Netherlands, it's slightly different. If I'm a Dutch guy and you call me with a German number, there's a very high chance I won't answer because I don't know who's calling. So we were faced with the problem that we had to enroll all these iPhones all over the world, but we didn't want to go to the process of managing local contracts everywhere. I mean, we're present in 12 big countries, but also smaller ones in, for example, Spain, where we, at this point, just have one store. And I didn't want to reach out to like all stores to have mobile plans and see when they hire and fire employees to go over that process all over again. And I wanted local numbers, and it needed to be scalable. That was basically the takeaway of the whole project when we started it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Tap to pay.
Yes.
Is it?
Basically, what we're doing at Tap to Pay is an Apple service. I believe it's available in about 20 to 25 countries now, at least most of the countries we are active. And you use your iPhone as a payment terminal with the NFC chip, which is a capability the iPad unfortunately doesn't have. So what we're doing now is we're removing the cash desks in the store, because we want to stay as close to the customer as possible. So you come in, you report yourself to the host, hey, I'm Antoine, I'm here for a wedding suit. Style advisor or tailor picks you up, guides you through the whole experience. You can pay right where you are, so you don't have to go, like if we have multiple stores, to the cash desk to pay. Everything is right in the area where you tried on, where you measured. So basically it changes the way we could play with the space, physical space we had in the buildings.
Cool.
Where was I?
So we're coming on to the kind of, so the solution. So in terms of the problem, obviously the one-to-one relationships, trying to make that better, smoother. The tap to pay thing I love, by the way.
It's for us, it's one of the killer features, because it really drove the adoption of the tailors, because everything they need, including the stock, basically all the information about the customer we have, like if you're a returning customer, your sizes, maybe if you eat in a lot, but your sizes are roughly the same. So we could prepare and pick a few jackets you might like in your size. So that's everything they have right in their pocket now. And because of the tap-to-pay functionality, it's really convenient to just grab and say, you don't have to leave the customer at any point. So it really contributes to the relationship we have with the customer and the tailor. And also when we reach out, hey, your alteration is done, your suit is ready to be picked up. Do you want to try it on again, or do you want us to send it to your home address or to your office maybe? And because of that, we just call the customer or reach out to the customer with a text message, WhatsApp, whatever their preferred method is. So
and that's key, isn't it?
Yeah, that's key, yeah.
That communication one-to-one to me if I'm a client, and you if you're a tailor. What did you call it, a style?
Yeah, we have style advisors and we have
that's
tailors.
it.
So
I think I need a style advisor to add. So in terms of the solution we've come up with, it was fundamentally revolved around that one-to-one communication with the style advisor. Easy for me to say again, I forgot it. The style advisor and the client. That's key. The deployment, the tap to pay, they're all kind of key components of that solution. So ADE, Apple Automated Device Enrollment, and ABM with Jamf Pro, with 1GLOBAL eSIMs, was basically the solution that we came up with here. But there are a key few things that Twan mandated as part of this.
One of the most, it needs to be scalable, because we're growing, and if everything goes as planned, we're growing fast. So I needed to be really scalable, and I needed to be basically as zero touch as possible. Mainly for the end user. We have 2 big training facilities, one in Europe and one in the US. So basically everybody at Suit Supply got the same training. So I want them to have the same experience all over the world. It shouldn't matter if you're in New York or in Amsterdam or in Berlin. The experience for the style advisor should be exactly the same. And also from a management perspective, we came from like store-specific setups, and I wanted that gone, because as soon as we had an issue, everything needed to be done by the higher support team. Now it's just an iPhone, so everything can be solved basically by the first line over the phone. And because all these iPhones are connected, have data all around the world, we can support them everywhere. So it makes it, for us, really convenient. And maybe the best example is I'm the one managing it, and I'm presenting here. I'm not managing anything. So we hire people every day. People leave the company every day. We're a big company. But I don't have to do anything. As long as there's an iPhone and we have a few spares in store, they just put in the suit supply email address, password, and everything for the end user is zero touch. So if the HR system states you're in New York, you will get a US eSIM. If you're in Amsterdam, you will get a Dutch eSIM. If you decided, well, I had my time in Amsterdam, I would like to immigrate to the US and work for Suit Supply New York, and people actually do that more than I expected. They move over, we change it in the HR system, they delete the Dutch eSIM and automatically get a US eSIM without any interaction from the IT department or anyone else. We just ask them, so as soon as you land, delete it, and then you're done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So look, the key to this is how do we do this? How do we do this whole zero touch deployment globally? And kind of a little bit more about the why. So thinking about Twan, if Twan was in a situation where he had to do this, it could be painful, having different agreements with different carriers in each country, trying to get the right SIM to the right user. Some countries still don't support eSIM, believe it or not. And other ones have complicated processes where, right, okay, we have to give that device to that user, and that's his number. And that cannot be changed because of the one-to-one relationship with the carrier and the EID. End user management, I mean, we've seen end user stuff, and we were discussing this the other day. We've seen SIM cards distributed to end users who all they have to do is break it out the plastic, stick it in the side of the device, and somehow they've got an SD card and put it in the SIM card slot, which bricks a phone, because when you pull it out, all the little nice gold pins come out as well. So you've got these kind of end user scenarios where you want to flatten that as much as possible. So there's also challenges with accurately managing who's got what, which is, you wanted one view of the truth, which was Andre?
Yeah, we basically, to add what we do, we completely close the loop. We use our HR system as the single source of truth. We move everything to Azure AD or Entra, as it's called now. Jamf puts out of Entra which store what your job title is, because everything is role-based. And then as soon as the iPhone gets a phone number, it feeds back to Entra to enable multi-factor authentication. And it also feeds back to the HR system, so your signature gets updated with the right phone number, and everything is zero touch. So basically, as soon as you log in, everything is done for you.
Yeah. So without this, you've got all that stuff to do, haven't you? You've got to who's got which SIM, which number. There's also been a few reported risks in the industry around SIMs, so revolving around identity theft, corporate fraud, and also the exposure of SIMs to high usage in high-cost countries. So, I don't know, taking a SIM card out of a managed device, putting it in an unmanaged device, going to Bhutan and watching Netflix in the Himalayas. Why you'd want to do that, I will never know, because I'm sure there's some beautiful scenery, but these are the kind of things that happen around the world that we see. And the worst one I've heard of, not with us, I have to say, was in excess of $100,000 for a single user in a 1-week period. And the organization didn't know for another 2-3 weeks until the bill landed. And these are the kind of things we see. FCC have now flagged physical SIMs as a cybersecurity risk as well for identity theft. So if it was Anthony's phone, I take the SIM card out of his phone, put it in mine, I've now got his two-factor authentication. So there's also a security element of putting the SIM card behind some form of gated access, if you like. So these were the problems that we're seeing organizations have. It's called SIM dumping, by the way, taking the SIM card out and putting it into an unmanaged device, or I forgot the name of the identity theft one, but it's fine. So there's also another thing as well here, which is Apple are obviously moving towards, we can clearly see a strategy towards eSIM-only devices. It's happened in the US already with the 14, 15, 16. It's not happened in other countries until this year. The iPad Air and iPad Pro 2024 were released. Yep. These are now eSIM-only devices. So, Ant, I'm going to pass over to you, if that's cool.
Yeah, cool.
You want to drive?
No, you drive. That's all right. You're doing such a good job. I might crash.
Thank you.
So we're a telecoms company, right? So what do we know about device management? And what do we know about devices? When we started researching the marketplace, we found that the Apple ecosystem, and Jamf being the spearhead of the capabilities within that ecosystem, were probably the guys to speak to. So Jamie started having those conversations about, hey, this is a great, fantastic opportunity, but we're a telco. What can we do to harness that fantastic device flow you've got from Apple Business Manager, register the device in Jamf Pro with automated device enrollment? We'd like to be part of that. How do we get on that train? And that's when Jamf started having those meaningful conversations with us, and we started working on it to integrate the back end using an API that would allow us to actually present the eSIM as part of that process on the device. Completely frictionless to the user. So the user gets their apps, they get their policies, and their eSIM, all part of the same process. And as Tuan has said, as part of that process, he's here with us. He doesn't have to worry about eSIMs or anything like that. It's all automated. So it's a fantastic ecosystem that we've been able to use, and we can't do it with any other vendor. It's only Jamf, and we can't do it with Android. That ecosystem is, well, let's not go there. But with Apple, it works fantastic. And that's the driving force behind this, is enabling you guys to do more with what you've got, with Jamf Pro and with Apple devices. So, next slide, please.
Cool.
So, don't want to bore you with the technicalities, but what you can see on the slide here is the process flow for zero-touch eSIM distribution to new devices in multiple countries. So we've got examples of devices in 3 different countries, and we can deliver the right country code number to each of those devices. And the magic here is being able to use Jamf smart groups and webhooks to call the API, so that integrates the Jamf Pro instance with our backend process for that eSIM delivery to the device. We use the user information to drive that. It can be anything, but user information is probably giving you the geo. So if I'm based in the US, I get a US number. And it can come from linking your IDP, Entra, Google, whatever, driving that user information into Jamf Pro, dropping the device into the smart group once the user is registered on that device, and that triggers us to deliver the right eSIM. It's as simple as that. It's fantastic. We can't believe how easy it is, can we?
No, and there's a few things that also enables you. When you're distributing through this method and it's automated centrally, you can start to do some really cool stuff with eSIM security. So there, you can actually lock it down so that the process flow, and we'll show you in a minute, we've got a quick demo video where device goes through the normal kind of onboarding process, eSIM gets delivered remotely and seamlessly to the device. And if you have a look when we go through the demo video, you'll see there's no option to add an eSIM, because once you'll start using this method, you can start locking the devices down. So now that eSIM's locked on that device, you can't add another eSIM, and you can't take that one away. So, and you can also add, there's other restrictions you can apply.
Yeah, with regards to locking down the usage of the mobile signal. But one of the great things about that process is takes away the user temptation to delete eSIM. What will it do if I press this button? They don't have that opportunity. Takes away any support calls that might come your way saying, oh, I've just deleted my eSIM, what do I do? Why did you do that? Well, because there was a button there that I had to press.
Well, we should stop bringing that up. It was an accident. Just want to know what it did. Okay, cool. So are you happy to move on to the video?
Yeah, let's roll it.
Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to move you on to the video now, and we're going to walk you through what's happening at each of these steps.
So what we've got here is 3 iPhones. We have a German user, a US user, and a Dutch user.
Somebody pressed the wrong button.
Okay.
There we go. Go.
Are we off?
We're off.
Excellent. And we're really just showing you the full automated device enrollment that you guys know already. There's nothing new here. There's no smoke and mirrors. It's all the same process that you use to enroll your iPhones into Jamf Pro. The user's going to register on the device with their corporate credentials, and that flow is going to continue through to the Jamf Pro, who's going to then pick up the configurations, download their apps, whatever rules and configurations that you've set for those devices. And then at the end of that, we'll see once that process froze. It only does depend, and Tuan can give us a little bit more of the experience of the end user and what it looks like, but it just depends on the speed of your Wi-Fi. If you've got fast Wi-Fi, that eSIM will be on the device before you know it. There's no interaction from the end user to click buttons or anything. It's just totally frictionless from that perspective. And if it's fast Wi-Fi, you don't even see it happening. In fact, I think we've had to sort of do it on a slow Wi-Fi so we can actually
Well,
capture a video.
This is actually in real time as well, and this is actually the same process flow that you guys use in an organization. And right now you'll see, so it's picked up the config. We can see the Dutch user on the right-hand side would have been dropped into a Dutch smart device group. That then triggers the API call, and you can see here, nothing has been touched. It's activating that eSIM. So this, again, it's all in real time. We've not sped it up. We've not slowed it down. You'll see it go through. So this process here takes up to about 45 seconds for the eSIM to actually activate. And then what you'll see is that one on the right-hand side, the Dutch one, that's activated or activating still. And you'll see now if there's actually, you can see the eSIM restrictions, and you may see on the middle one there is no option to add an eSIM. That's just because we locked it down as part of the demo. You don't have to do that. It's just a show of the art of the possible. On the right-hand side with the Dutch user, and now on the left-hand side with the German user, when we go into the cellular settings and the phone settings, you'll see there the right-hand one is a Dutch number, and we'll see the US one has a US number, and we'll see the German one a second ago has a German number. So that's what an end user sees. It doesn't matter whether you're a domestic-only organization, like an education organization that needs to send out restricted SIMs to devices. It doesn't matter whether it's a suit supply where you've got iPhones that you're trying to distribute across the globe. Each user gets the right SIM and the right plan for their region. And zero touch?
Yeah, it's completely zero touch, and we use, of course, our store Wi-Fi to do it. And on average, I would say it depends on the speed, but the complete enrollment is under 2 minutes if you use a recent phone model. Other great experience we had not Wi-Fi issues exactly, we had power issues in one of the stores. So the guys went to the McDonald's around the corner, used the public Wi-Fi, downloaded SIM cards, and basically they made sales anyway without having power in the store. So it's one of those edge cases, but that was, well, it's really convenient to have this because we noticed the Wi-Fi got down from a monitoring system, but nobody actually called us that they didn't have Wi-Fi. So they just continued. They said, yeah, it was down for a few minutes or hours, I don't even know, but it's fine, we managed anyway. So that's one of the advantages we had.
And one of the key things here as well is what we've just shown is an automated method based upon Entra IDs. Ultimately, this is an API that's driven through smart device groups, so we can show you behind the scenes.
Yeah, it can be any criteria you want to drive the activation of the smart group that drops the device into that. By going into the smart group, we're monitoring in the background because we create a webhook within Jamf Pro to look at the smart group mobile device membership change. Once that triggers, that calls the webhook and sends the information to our back end. We do some clever stuff with our SMDP Plus to enable that device then to be able to fetch the eSIM. And it's as simple as you saw on the screen. So all the complexity is removed both from the administrator and from the end user. So what the other great thing about it is that you don't have to do anything other than that for one device or thousands of devices. Once it's set up, it's good to go. If you've got existing devices, then you can just drop them into the smart group, and that will trigger the process as well. So you don't have to go through the full ADE enrollment if you just want a new eSIM on a device.
And although we didn't capture it earlier on in the kind of Tuan's success criteria of what this looks like, one of the things that was key was the devices, pick up any device.
Yeah, basically what we did, we ordered a pallet of iPhones, and we just wanted to ship them to the stores. And basically, we wanted anyone to just grab an iPhone without having to label them up front, which user has which numbers. So basically, it becomes yours or registered under your name as soon as you register it in Jamf. And then it feeds back to all the systems. And for that's great, because if an iPhone breaks because somebody drops it, they just grab a new one, they report it, but in the heat of the moment, they just can continue with where they left off.
Yeah.
And back to Twan's single view of the truth, which is your ID management platform. They've got all the user details in Entra. That pulls through to Jamf. That then pulls through to our CRM platform. So you now have all matching records. CRM platform for the carrier, Twan's backend, the Jamf Pro, everything all matches. So coming on, Twan, to actually, we'll come back to you in a second, if that's all right. So look, we set out to do this as something that stands towards our core values as an organization, which is, it's simple. Don't you agree with that?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. API, how long does it take to set up the API, Anne?
Yeah, a smart group and a webhook. Yeah, 10 minutes work on the interface of Jamf Pro and you're done.
And it's the same API for every single country. It's not 10, 12 different APIs, it's one API. And we do the clever stuff with the smart device groups. Flexible?
Scalable, I would say. That was one of the key takeaways for us. I mean, I set it up 7, 8 months ago, and the only time I touched it was about 6 months ago, because we added 2 other countries. That was it. So we added smart groups. It's an email to Jamie, hey, this is us. We have 2 new smart groups for this country. Can you please add them? A few minutes later, done, and then we enroll them. So it's...
And from a security perspective, you've now got SIM cards gated through Jamf. So what that means from Twan's perspective, if you had to ship, I don't know, 100 SIM cards to a store, how do you know the right person's getting the right SIM, and how do you know that they've actually... Yeah. Whereas now, because it's gated through Jamf Pro, you know only qualified users with the right devices are actually getting eSIMs. So coming on to the kind of just closing up on you guys as a customer and how this worked. So my first question is, did it work?
Yeah, of course it worked, because that's the whole reason I'm here. No, we're very happy with it. We had another use case where we thought, well, we have these iPads in store, let's provision them with eSIMs, which was a capability as well. Yeah. We tested that, but we killed our own use case by providing everyone with an iPhone, which initially we thought, let's do only 200 because of the costs and the reasons. And then within 2 months, we decided, well, let's completely go for it, give everyone an iPhone. We are removing the iMacs from the store now because we no longer need them.
Yeah. And they look after the iPhones.
Yeah, and that's one of the, we're not really proud of that, but a lot of iPads got stolen out of the stores because, well, I see it as a rental car, nobody owns it. But now we say, well, you get an iPhone, it has a life cycle of 2 years, and after 2 years, you can buy it off us really cheap. So if you look after it very well, you have a cheap iPhone, personal iPhone, after 2 years. Also, and that's obviously a choice, but we encourage people to use it for personal use, so they look after it, they make sure it's charged, and we don't have to deal with, it's broken. And of course, accidents happen. We have AppleCare for Enterprise for that, so everything is, basically, if they drop it, they have the number of AppleCare, and they have an on-site replacement or repair. So it's no IT tickets show up when they manage to break one.
So I've seen some amazing topics over the years, the subject matters and solutions that we've all gone behind the scenes. This is amazing. This is going to solve the world's problems. Well, maybe not the world, but at least...
at least my problems.
At least your problems. And then you roll it out and end users go, this is rubbish, we're not doing it, we're not going to use it, and you get a revolution and it all kicks off and dies a death. Yeah. From your perspective, what was the user adoption like?
It was great because, of course, when you give everybody a new iPhone and they see it as a present, so that's that counts for a big part. But everything they need now is on one single device and it's in their pocket. So it takes away a lot of walking in the store, and some stores even to different floors. They have all the info they need from a customer up front without having to look for one of the shared iPads. And because it's we use tap to pay, they can stay with the customer and have a great customer experience all the time. So I mean, we're a sales-driven organization. The style advisors get sales bonuses, of course. So it really encouraged them to stay with the customer and give the customer the best experience. So, of course, they sell a lot. So
Yeah, everybody's happy.
everybody's happy.
Yeah.
One of the things we spoke about quite a lot is the speed of deployment. And initially we talked about 80% of users being deployed within a 2-month period.
Yeah.
I think those numbers have been thrown on their head as you've I think you said whilst you were on holiday they rolled out another 100 users in the US.
Yeah, basically I went on holiday for the last few weeks, and we decided, well, we do an initial back for the back of house people, the storage location. We got the offsites where we have a few tailors. Let's do everyone is really everyone. Well, if you order like 500 phones at Apple, you need to wait. They don't have them on stock. So basically, they were all sent out while I was on holiday. And once I checked, I saw just the numbers increased. And I checked the support desk list, and it was empty because everyone else in store already had an iPhone. And as soon as you're able to put in your own email address and press enter, you're good to go. So basically, it just grew without us touching anything.
And in terms of support tickets that have been raised over this period, what's been the output?
Well, that's probably a difficult question because nobody had an iPhone before and now they do, but we had in general like 10 tickets in total. People didn't know their password and it didn't came up on them to say, I forgot my password. Yeah. So that were the tickets. And because we moved away from store-specific setups to a generic one-size-fits-all, which can be handled by level 1 support, I mean, the support cases we had could be solved within a few minutes without having to ask system engineers to look after it. So that's, I mean, the support in general stay the same because end users stay end users and they're tailors and style advisors and not IT people. Yeah. But the questions they ask, they are a lot simpler and a lot easier to answer. So yeah. It's more convenient for them. So.
And I think last question for me was originally this was something, although we designed it to be anything iOS, you guys obviously adopted it for iPhone. You adopted it for iPads as well, didn't you?
Yeah, but like I said, we killed our own use case by providing everyone an iPhone. So we have the iPad still in store, but I believe some of them haven't been charged for like a month because it's in your pocket. You don't need to reach out for an iPad. The only reason we sometimes do take an iPad is to show a customer, well, this is another suit you might like, just because of the bigger screen. That's the only reason we still have those. Yeah. And well, we bought them anyway, so there's no point of taking them away.
And my final question for you, has this improved Suit Supply's service to your customers?
In my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of style advisors, yes, it did, because it works two ways. One, we can reach out personally to the customer when your suit is ready. Like I said, do you want me to send it to you? Are you coming to pick it up? Do you want to pick it up in a different store? All that is possible. And now that's a one-on-one conversation with the customer. But because we have this contact opportunity, it also works the other way around. So we can reach out to a customer, hey, I haven't seen you for a while, for example. I have something you might like, and that actually works. A lot of people are sensitive to that, and they like that a lot better than one of those bulky spam emails. I'm sure all of you get a lot of those. Hey, we have this, would you like to buy it? And for example, we have a red suit, I like it, but it doesn't fit me. I won't like an email about it, but if my style advisor knows me, he won't try to sell me that. So that's one of it's more a personal one-on-one approach.
Yeah, and I guess that's helping build those relationships between the customer and the style
and that's
advisor.
And that's how we combine the old-fashioned or traditional art of tailoring with the digital. I mean, everybody has a mobile, so why not use it?
Yeah.
This is why I need a style advisor, you see. I need to know whether that red suit would
you can try it.
Tuan, thank you.
Yeah.
So look, we got, thank you for attending this session. Time for a Q&A. If anybody has some questions for Tuan, myself, Anthony, please fire away.
You guys got the core messages?
Yeah, do you guys utilize the single sign-on?
Yes.
So do you guys utilize the single sign-on?
Yes.
Like Okta or MFA? Because I did not see it, during
the demo the demo you saw is from Entra, but we use SSO as much as possible. So we want to basically put everything behind one door for the end user. And like I said, as soon as for a new user it activates, we use SSO. So it's basically logging into Entra and then feeding that information back to Jamf. But what it also does is put the number back into the MFA in Entra, and then they can set the authenticator app if they want to. But in the first point, it's SMS two-factor authentication. So everything, all the apps we use, including our POS system or CRM, everything is as much as possible a single sign-on. We have like a few legacy applications, but we're moving away from them. Goal is before the end of the year, and then everything will be single sign-on because it contributes to the user experience, and it makes it a lot easier for us to manage.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for the rundown. I recognize the value in what you guys have been able to do together and simplify. Thanks for your teams. So appreciate the time. My organization is rolling out eSIM devices this fall, and we've thought as much as we can about restrictions to implement on the MDM level against modification to the eSIM. Any of y'all mind speaking into the MDM profile level? What do you recommend or currently use as far as restrictions go, just to make sure that there's not those deleted eSIMs by curious folks or otherwise?
Well, that's a tough one. For us, we're really free because that's part of the organizational culture I'm in. The only thing we lock is you cannot delete the eSIM on the device because, well, as soon as you delete it, you're still in the smart group. You will get a new one, and I won't have that somebody flushes all our eSIMs. And what else? Yeah, we restrict like the standard things. Roaming is enabled. I mean, they can go all over. There's a cap, but it's like a, what do you call it, bump stop on a financial thing. But we didn't really want to restrict people. We want to encourage them to actually use their phone and look after it. So encryption is turned on, passcode is enforced. What is it? iCloud backup needs to be encrypted. Like the real standard security things are enforced. But on the other hand, all the apps we used are app or web-based, so basically there's no sensitive information at all on the phone itself. So as soon as somebody steals it, it's just a locked phone and you cannot do anything with it because all the information used is live and stored somewhere else in the cloud solution, hidden and protected with MFA and single sign-on. So in terms of restrictions, we're quite free with what we do, but that's a personal choice. We thought of restricting it, but then you get like the whole shadow IT where people bring their own phones and do it anyway. And that was one of the, when we started the project, we noticed that some tailors said, oh, that's nice because now I'm using my personal phone to reach out to customers. And we didn't knew that before. So that was one of the things where they asked, well, everybody has my number, can we migrate it? So that's one of those shadow IT parts you really don't know about unless somebody tells you. And yeah, they told us after we provided them with phones. So that's why we really lose with restrictions. We really want to encourage people to take everything out of it, and maybe they come up with ideas we didn't know about and we can implement for all of our stores.
And I think it depends on the vertical as well. So if we're talking to our compliance banking customers, everything's locked down. It's unless some of them have BYOD strategies using account-driven device enrollment, cool, fine. But for the company ones where they're doing call recording and everything else, they're just super locked down, so nobody can touch anything. If you come and see Anthony afterwards, we can do a demo on the stand of some of those SIM restrictions, and you can see the SIM restrictions on, SIM restrictions off, how it works, and some of the options. So it's actually quite cool when you start looking at centrally deploying it through a carrier in the way that we're doing it.
Yeah, and the main Apple restriction for cellular is that modify eSIM, so users can't delete it. Once it's on there, right, you want it on there, turn it off, and they cannot delete that eSIM or modify it.
All right, folks, we are exactly at 11 o'clock. If you have any additional questions, I do invite you to approach these gentlemen now that we're done. But please put your hands together one final time for this fantastic session.